Welcome to Shot Clock, everybody. Ben Mankiewicz and Dave Rubin. We're at 50 games. We are 62% done with this season. 61%.
That is some math.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
5 out of 8, 62.5. So, so we got a good look at what the playoffs might look like. I tell you what, can we start in the Western Conference? Let's start in the Western Conference.
I was told we're starting in the East, but all right, let me readjust here. Okay.
Because this is what everybody is presuming, and this is the point that I'd like to make. We see that 1-8 matchup. We're presuming that Golden State, barring an injury, is going to hang on to that number 1 seed.
Yeah.
And everyone is waiting for Oklahoma City to make that move past Phoenix to set up what could be what logically before the season, if those guys have been healthy throughout, could have been the Western Conference Final.
Right.
Right? And so you get this thrilling first round matchup that might be conceivably their toughest matchup. I think Phoenix is going to get that number 8 seed. I don't see it yet in Golden State. Phoenix is not going to fall apart. You know, they've played better lately. They're 28-22. They got 32 games left. They have every chance to go 20-12. Then you're making Oklahoma City go 23-9 in the West to tie them.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix is pretty good. Jason, how many games back is OKC of Phoenix right now?
Currently 2 games behind Phoenix.
So, you know, two sounds two.
It seemed worse a second ago.
Two's pretty doable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to take Phoenix in that just because I see Oklahoma City sputtering so much. But obviously it could be done, and that's what the league wants. That's what I mean. And when I say the league, I don't mean that's conspiratorially. I mean that's like what NBA Nation wants. We all like to see Golden State, Oklahoma City in the first round. We want to see whether San Antonio just suddenly turns it on against a really good Memphis team and a Mike Conley who looks like a young Tony Parker. Mm-hmm. But that 4-5 matchup is the one that I would want to watch every game of, which is Portland and the Clippers.
The real quick point before moving to the Eastern Conference standings also with San Antonio is those starters on that San Antonio team have played very few minutes together. Pop is monitoring them, and he is saving them for the last 15 games of the season and eventually the playoffs.
I got
so
you, but you're not going to have home court advantage, and you're playing a good team in Memphis. So
yeah,
of course. Look, you never bet against San Antonio or Popovich. I don't think the intention was to slide all the way to 7 this year. You know what I mean?
Although there's not much difference between 5, 6, and 7. Like, you mean, either way, you're going to play a really good team in the first round and a really good team in the second round.
Right. Throw that up one more time, and then we'll go over to these. So just the last point on the OKC thing is that 7 is San Antonio. There's no way that they're going to get to 7. So this is all about Phoenix.
This is all about Phoenix, and the advantage for San Antonio of being at 7 is you stay out of the side of the bracket of Golden State. You wouldn't get them to the final, and you hope that somebody else knocks them off along the way. That's the way. And by the way, just real quick, and sports in general, we'll put up the East, but the last thing I want to say about, like, you're never too old until you're too old. Like, you don't see it coming. It's not gradual.
It just happens.
It just happens, and it may have just happened, and in which case, standing ovation, incredible run, tip of the cap. But they might be too old, or they might be conserving minutes, and they might have another run.
Yeah. And final thought. I totally agree with you, Ben, on this. That every one of those matchups is great.
Every one of
them.
No
matter what happens, even the Phoenix Golden State matchup will be incredibly fun.
Somehow I don't care about Dallas and Houston.
But that's fun. It still would be fun. It would still be fun. All right, East. Let's go.
So the East is
that's right. Atlanta's
less
intriguing.
It's just massive.
I didn't even know these were all NBA teams.
But again, it's
Bulls Cavs is
the
great.
4-5 matchup because those coming in were what most people thought were the 2 best teams in the East.
Right.
And having to play in the first round. My hunch is that doesn't end up that way. The Cleveland, we've seen what happens. They've won 12 straight games. They could easily move to 3. They could easily end up at 2. They're 3 games behind Toronto. And then they don't get Chicago in the first round. The Wizards, much to my disappointment, struggling lately. That team could drop further down without a little help. That said, they may just be having a 10-game little drought, and they'll pick it back up. The schedule did get tougher. So right now, the way the Wizards are playing, they could lose to Milwaukee. It'd be a fun series to watch. I don't think America is going to be glued to it.
Right.
But that Cleveland-Chicago series is the one to watch in the East.
By the way, it's not on here, but the Knicks are actually 47th in the East right now. So watch out for that. Cleveland is going to absolutely, at worst, move up to 3. But my guess is they're going to overtake Toronto, too. They've hit the stride. LeBron's not going to let that.
And I think Chicago
will
play better down the stretch, too. I mean, those teams could end up 2-3, which would have them meet in the second round rather than the first round, which is what the league would like. And I think also, by the way, that's what Atlanta would like, is to have Cleveland and Chicago end up at 2-3 so that Atlanta, after dispatching Miami, doesn't have to deal with one of those behemoths in the second round.
Right. When you look at this, though, I mean, it really does go to show how the West, forgetting that they're better teams, I mean, they're just so much more entertaining. Toronto, Charlotte, I get there's some good stuff going on in Toronto right now. And even, I know you're a Washington guy, but Washington, Milwaukee, like, I haven't watched that much Milwaukee, so maybe I'm missing something there. But like, this is just like, I would rather watch any of the Western Conference.
There feels like there's some irrelevant teams there.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to concede that point.
Thank you. What do you think? Did we muck this thing up or do we nail it? Let us know in the comments right down below.